Assalamu alaikum, this is me Atisham and you're watching my YouTube channel RILS The Lingua Expert. I'm the expert trainer of IELTS, PTE, OET, IELTS Life Skills and other English language proficiency exams. In this video, we're going to learn the concept of interrogative sentences or questions in English grammar. So what is a question statement in English grammar? Usually the non-native speakers, they always find it difficult to structure or construct a statement in interrogative form. So let's get to study how do we use interrogative sentences in our day-to-day communication, and also we would get to know the different types of interrogative sentences. There are basically three types of question which we normally use in our communication. They are confirmative questions, informative questions, and another category that is the informal category of question. It is tag question. Now let's first talk about the confirmative questions. As the name refers to confirmation of any information, so here these statements are used in order to confirm some information. If I use a sentence and I want to confirm it, these sentences usually begin with the auxiliary verb, which we take it out from a structure, and with the help of that auxiliary verb we use mainly this construction which we call it confirmative question. Another name of confirmative question is close-ended questions. So let's get to have few examples so that we can get to understand how we can use this confirmative in our conversation. First example, do you play soccer? So here in this sentence, do you play soccer? This is the confirmative, and here you see do is an auxiliary verb, and after that you see a subject and then the main verb play, and after that the extension which is soccer. So do you play soccer? And the answer of these confirmative questions or close-ended questions come in two types. One, we call it assertion, the other one is negation. Like the answer of this question that I have asked, do you play soccer? So one answer can be yes, I play soccer, and the second answer will be no, I don't play soccer. So these are the answers of this confirmative question, in which somebody wants to confirm some information and the other person either asserts that information or negates. Another example, are you tired? And you say yes, I am tired, no, I'm not tired. So see here the answer also comes in two types. One is assertion and the other one is negation. Now let's talk about the second category, which is informative question, or we also call it open-ended question. So here you usually use a WH question word at the start of the same confirmative formula, like with the auxiliary verb you use a subject, then the main verb, and afterwards you use extension with a question mark followed in writing. But here in informative question, you use a WH question word. I'll give you a few examples of the WH question words, such as what, which, where, when, why, who, whose, whom, how many, how much, how long, how far, and how often. So these are the various WH question words that you use in order to ask information with respect to time, place, person, manner, and there are lots of ways. So you have to get to understand the concept of these WH question words. Why do we use them in our statements? The first one is what. So what is used to ask general information, like what do you do and what color do you like. So here you don't see a specific range, so it's a common one, any color you may choose, and you say that what color do you like. But when we talk about which is used for the specific object, like when you have a range of something or you have a choice of some objects and you are asked to select out of this range, so you may use which in a question statement. For example, which color do you like? So here you may have a range of 3 colors, 5 colors, or 10 colors, and you're asked to choose one color out of them. And another WH question word is where we use this WH question word in order to ask information with respect to place. And here the example is where do you live and where is your office. Another WH question word is with the help of when. And when we use in order to ask information with respect to time. When do you sleep? When do you wake up? When do you do this particular job? So here we use when. Another word we have is why, and why we use for asking reason. Why do you do this and why are you learning English? So why we use for asking reason. Another word we have is who, and who we use for asking information with respect to a person, but we usually use it in a subject place, like the question who teaches you English, and you say that this particular teacher teaches me English. So who teaches you, who performs that action. So here who is used for a person, and in response you have to tell the person name at the subject place, that this person teaches me. Who named you? My mother named me. So my mother has been used at a subject place. Now let's talk about the word whose. Whose we use in order to show possession of someone over something in the question. Like if I say whose car is that, so whose car is that, this is the possession of someone over something, over the car. So whose car is that and whose house is this? These questions are mainly used in order to show possession of someone over something. Another WH question word we have is whom, W-H-O-M, and we use this also to ask information with respect to a person, but here we use it in object case. Who is used in a subject, whereas whom is used in the object case. Whom did you give my book? So whom did you give my book? In response you say I gave it to somebody else. So somebody else is an object. So here you don't place it at the start. And now let's talk about another WH question word, which is how. How we use for asking manner or method, like how do you manage to come to office? So how do you manage? So in what manner you come to office? You come either by your personal conveyance or you use the bus service or train service, anything. How do you manage? So how is used for asking manner. Now another word we have how many. We use how many for countable nouns, like how many friends do you have and how many coins of 5 rupees do you have. Another WH question word we have how much. We use how much for uncountable nouns, like how much water is there in a water dispenser. And another WH question word is how long. We use how long in order to ask information with respect to a time period, that how long do you sleep in a day. You in a response say that I sleep for 7 hours in a day. Another WH question word is how far. So how far we use for asking information with respect to distance, and we say how far do you live from this particular place. So how far and how much distance you have from this particular place to your home. And the last WH question word that I would discuss here, it is how often. And how often we use in order to ask information with respect to frequency. So any action that repeatedly happens, so we use this particular WH question word how often. For example, how often do you visit your hometown? So how often, so if you visit twice a year or once a month, so you say I visit once a month or twice a year. So I hope that WH question words for informative question are clear to you. Now let's talk about the third category, which is the tag question. This is not normally used in our conversation because mainly we use either confirmative or informative question, but tag question is also one of its categories, so we have to also shed light upon what is tag question. By definition, it is a grammatical structure in which a declarative sentence is turned into a question by the addition of interrogative fragment. This structure is mainly used informally in oral communication to confirm some information. Here in tag questions, tag repeats the verb and especially the auxiliary verb is repeated at the end. There are two types of tag or tail question. One we call it positive cum negative, and the other category is negative cum positive. So let's first talk about the positive cum negative. In positive cum negative, you would see a main clause in positive or affirmative sentence, whereas on the other hand, the tag would be in the negative form. So let's get to have few examples. The first example is, it is your book, isn't it? So this is the positive affirmative, the main clause, it is your book. And with the help of comma, and after that you see a tag, isn't it? So isn't it is actually a tag which you see at the end of this affirmative sentence. Now let's talk about another example. You look happy, don't you? So here you also see you look happy is an affirmative statement, and after that you see a tag in negative, don't you, because here in negative we use do or does as an auxiliary verb, so we use tag with the auxiliary verb and a subject, so you see don't you. The third example, you drove the car, didn't you? So here you drove the car, this refers to the past tense, and here we have for the past simple, did is an auxiliary verb, and this is why we would use didn't you with the negation, because this example is from positive cum negative. And the last example, he has completed his work, hasn't he? So here you see the tag hasn't he, which refers to the negation, and earlier to it, the affirmative statement, you see he has completed his work. Now let's talk about the second category, which we call it negative cum positive. So here you would see the main clause, the earlier clause will be used in negative, and the later clause that we call it a tag question, that will be used in positive. So let's get to have few examples to get to understand this particular type. The first example, it is not an interesting story, is it? So here you see is it is a tag question, that is the positive one, and earlier to it the main clause that is in negative, which you use it is not an interesting story, and at the end you use a tag question, that is it? Another example, he cannot drive the car, can he? So here you also see a negative statement in the main clause, and the tag is positive one, can he, with a question mark. Though it is interrogative, but this is the category which is known as negative cum positive. And the third example I would like to quote here, you don't speak Arabic, do you? So here you also see you don't speak Arabic is in negation, and then you use a positive one, do you, with a question mark. These are the examples of both positive cum negative and negative cum positive. So I hope that you have clearly understood the concept of question in English grammar, because this is mainly found difficult by the non-native speakers. So if you still have any query with respect to all three types of question, you may feel free to type your message in the comment box below. Before I sign out, if you have liked my video, please do like and share, and also subscribe to my channel for more informative videos with respect to both basic and advanced English grammar. So see you in the next video. Till then, Allah Hafiz.